And I think what women forget is that when they are in their elder years, life for you is a lot different than it was. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, you're not chasing after a toddler. You're not, because they are busy little kids. You're not a young mom with busy, busy kids, and you're a
Sure.
busy, busy driving people everywhere, and you're going this and going that, and you're more stressed. You're probably drinking more. You're more sedentary, and you're yo-yo dieting throughout
The
this
year
whole thing.
the years and that is the big one of the biggest culprits. It's the yo-yo dieting and the crash
Yes.
dieting. Like, let's
Yes.
say, like, Beth,
Mhm.
the approach that you're having right now for your bodybuilding prep, that's what a
Yeah.
lot of women do
They'll go straight to these
constantly.
these numbers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for decades to try
Mhm.
to lose weight, to try to lose fat, because they're doing programs like Weight Watchers or the Slimming Worlds or Optavia or whatever
Yes.
fucking bullshit diet is out there that's putting you on 1,000 calories. Not saying you're doing 1,000 calories because you're not,
Right.
but
No.
that is putting you on 1,000 calories. We're putting you on 1,200 calories, right?
Yeah.
That's what's fucking you up.
Welcome to Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt, the world's #1 no bullshit health and fitness podcast.
Are you ready to cut the crap with your diet and exercise, get strong as fuck, and build a healthy relationship with food? Then you've come to the right place.
Let's go. If you'd like to support us in the podcast, join our Patreon where you get exclusive content, which consists of monthly workouts you can do at home or at the gym, monthly challenges that are either strength, habit, or mindset based, and access to over 100 plus low-calorie, high-protein, family-friendly meals. These are all designed by a professional chef who is certified in nutrition. These recipes are already in MyFitnessPal for easy fucking tracking. New recipes are also added each week.
We believe that fitness is for everyone, so this is our way of getting you started on your health and fitness journey at a price most everyone can afford. So what the fuck are you waiting for? We'll see you in the Patreon.
Nerd alert!
Nerdle alert! How are you, my friend?
Good. Just having my ghost sour pink lemonade.
Your
Um,
emotional support, Bev?
nope, this is not my emotional support beverage. This is my just
Y-
caffeinated beverage that I
The
start
caffeinated
at
beverage.
9 and I make it last all day. But my
Got it.
emotional support beverage is just like that, like a seltzer or something fizzy to help my hunger. This
Sure.
is more for energy.
Got it. Got it. I have not had a single drop of caffeine today, other than my I guess my Flow gummies that I just took have a little bit of caffeine in them, but that's
Oh
about
yeah.
it. You know, I crushed
hmm
the gym this morning with Riker.
I
I
saw
woke up at
that.
like 6:45 and he was awake. He's like, "Oh, I just woke up and I can't get back to sleep." I was like, "Well, you want to go to the gym early?" Because we were planning on going at 8 o'clock anyway.
hmm
So we went, and of course he had to shower and stuff. So he did. Really, we weren't even ready to go to the gym until 8 o'clock anyway. But yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
then I
awesome.
got my walk in with Dutch. Man, it's still so hot out there.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
I just saw an article on the Wall Street Journal about parents working out with their kids, and that's how they're connecting with them.
Mhm.
And I'm
Yep.
like, this is so fucking true. Like, you go into the gym with Riker, it's like where you guys can just go, you
We
just lift.
bond,
Yes, you're like on the same level, you're doing the same shit. Yeah, bonding
and it's
experience,
a
like
it is.
conversations.
Yeah. I'm finding it more and more difficult as a parent right now to get my 15-year-old teenage boy to open up to me, right?
Yeah.
And to talk to me, especially because, like, I talked to his mom. Me and his mom we are awesome co-parenters and we're good friends. And he tells her stuff, and I'm like, man, like that hurts my heart a little bit. Like, why doesn't he say things to me? But then I'm also thinking like, well, I also didn't talk to my dad like that when I was a teenager, stuff. So what the best we can do is bond. So I'm always telling him that I'm proud of him, but like when we're going to the gym and just
hmm
today he was really pushing himself with bench
That's
press, and he's
awesome.
like, "Can we bench today?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
You
So
guys been
seeing
strength
him,
training for years. I mean, ever since I've known you is when you started getting Riker into strength training.
yeah, yeah, he's been going to the gym with me. I mean, even before he really started lifting weights, since at least a good 10 years, and he's 15. He's just always been like, essentially when I started my own journey, he was kind of
Mhm.
always exposed to it.
Yeah, it's like Johnny.
I posted a story the other day when I was on my run, did my 9-mile long run the other day in the friggin' heat and humidity. Whew. And,
You still haven't told me what your fucking goal was, and
I thought I did.
no, you
Okay,
did not tell me.
I'll tell
Matt
you
Matt
after.
still hasn't told me his goal, you guys. It's like a fucking secret goal, and I don't even know about it, okay?
It's
So
not
he's
like
been doing
some
these
big thing, but it's like, it's for me, man, I
it's
did
for
tell you what I'm
him.
gonna tell you though. So,
Okay, yeah.
when I was on my run, I passed this couple, And every time I see him, I'm like, "Hey, y'all, I'm gonna fucking crush it," you know. And there's
Yeah.
this couple that has their stroller, and they're always switching and rotating who's pushing it while they're running, and they're just out there getting it, and it just makes me so
Mhm.
happy to see that.
Right?
And
I
so I made a
know.
story about like I love to see parents out there getting their children involved, and it's just so easy for us as parents to use our children as an excuse or reason why we can't go for a run or go to the gym or eat healthy. And it's like, fuck that. You know, they should be our reason for wanting to do these things, not our excuse for why
Mhm.
we can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's that
Mhm.
little rant. But yeah, and Johnny, I mean, Johnny's doing his own thing
Yeah, Jo
too.
yeah, Johnny's been going well, when I started coaching at, Hybrid Fitness, he was 6, and so he's been coming to the gym since he was 6 years old, and he's been in a gym environment, I should say, since he was 6, and now for the past few years, I think he's in his 2nd, 3rd, I don't know, year of strength training, and so yesterday, he just pushed, like, 200 pounds on the sled.
Nice. 200 pounds.
200 pounds.
It's impressive.
I know, I know, right? He's sore. He's like, "My ass is sore today, mom."
Yeah. Yep.
He did
Yep.
like, I don't know how many squats yesterday, but he loves it. He was so upset when he couldn't go back right away because they were short-staffed, and he's like, "I feel like I'm just getting weak." It's like, "Dude, no, you're not."
Welcome to the fitness life. When you're
Right?
constantly feeling that way sometimes.
Oh, if you're out of the game,
Right.
I could understand his feeling. He was in Florida. He did go to the gym with me, but he didn't have his trainer, and he doesn't listen to mom.
Yeah.
So, he was out of the game for 2 months.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he's like, "I'm ready to go back. I wanna go back." And I that made me realize how actually influential the strength training was for him, making him feel strong, giving that boost of energy, all that stuff. So,
Mhm.
the fact that he
Mhm.
was wanting to go back and he had felt that need is pretty cool.
Yeah, I hear you. Riker and I had kind of taken a little unintentional break of lifting together, you know, when and if I don't lift with him, he doesn't really lift outside of sports, and once they're in
Mhm.
the heat of their season, they don't lift anymore. So he had a little bit of a break there. So he was the one who's like, "Hey, can we go to the gym? Can we go to the gym?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's gonna have to be early in the morning, you know, you gonna get
Yeah,
your ass up type thing." But love to see it.
that's awesome.
Mhm. So we do have a great episode lined up today for our listeners, but before we do that, we have like a couple of announcements, or maybe just an announcement to make pertaining to our meet and greet that we have planned in San Diego coming out,
Mhm.
you know, next week. I guess the announcement, easy way to say is like we have decided to postpone it for now.
Yeah, we are, and I'm sure some of you saw my stories of me already thinking about it. I'm just not comfortable with flying that far right now. I just wanna stay put.
Yeah,
And so I don't know, we don't do anything we don't wanna do. And
right.
so
If it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck
it's a
no.
fuck no, and it was a fuck yes, and then it turned into a, fuck no, not right now.
Right. Yeah, it's not to say like it's not going to happen. It's just right
Right.
now just isn't the best time for it.
Yeah, so we are going to reschedule to be announced, discussed later, but we're so sorry.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
this was a decision we didn't make lightly.
No.
I know Beth, you were stressing out about it, like,
I
and
was.
that's the thing, right? Like, it was causing so much mental turmoil and anxiety.
Mhm.
And had we just gone through and be like, okay, we're just going to do it anyway, you wouldn't have been able to enjoy yourself, and we wouldn't have been able to fully enjoy the trip, you know, because all
Right.
like even I had a weird feeling in my stomach about going, and so did like
Mhm.
Sarah, my girlfriend. Like she's like I couldn't pinpoint it, but like I just had a weird feeling about going.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's almost like there's the US events, but then there's my gut instinct that for some reason, and it was like a few weeks. I was like, okay, like it's just not, I don't know. And then my
Mhm.
son was also who he was going to go, and he was like really very anxious about the flying,
Yeah.
more than he's ever been because he's gone on most of our meet and greets with us. He's been to Oregon, he's been to Utah,
Mhm.
and this time he's like, oh, you know, he was just like not liking it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to basically force him, and I was like, "I bought you a ticket. You're going anyway."
Mhm. That's the thing, like, we had everything booked too, so it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. We
it
had to
wasn't an
cancel.
easy decision
I
to make.
mean, I lost money on an Airbnb, so this wasn't an easy decision at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we regret that we're not doing it right now. It sucks, but, you know, it's for the best, so we're gonna do it again in the future, so kind of stay tuned for that. We're gonna plan that out and figure out when we're going to do it again, essentially, so
Yeah.
TBD.
TBD.
And we've been doing these now for a couple of years, and we haven't missed any. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and they've all been great. And we've been really that's the thing. We've been looking forward to getting out to. We've been talking about going to San Diego now for a couple of since we started this. I think started
Yeah.
doing these meet and greets, and we were really looking
And
forward to seeing like Amy and all of our
mhm.
listeners and some of our coaching friends. You know,
Yeah, and we were going to go to Joshua Tree too. So
yeah,
there was a lot more involved.
right, right. So
Um, anyway.
yeah. So sorry if we've disappointed you guys, but hopefully you'll understand. You know,
Mhm.
we, one of the things that we are really big advocates for are saying no and saying no to things that don't feel right, and that's why we're sticking true to our word right now.
Yeah.
We'd be kind of hypocritical if we forced ourselves to do something like that when we're feeling that way, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
we love you guys and we appreciate you.
exactly.
Cool, cool. So Nerdle, how's things going with your cut, your prep? You're halfway through it.
Messy middle is what we call it.
Hmm.
The part where you just don't want to fucking do it
This
anymore.
is the part where so many people quit, but also
Yeah.
so many people. I mean, first and foremost, what you're doing isn't for like most people, like the general pop.
No, like most people quit when they think shit's not happening,
Hmm.
right? But
Yeah,
they're not happening fast enough. The reason that I would want to quit right now is because I'm fucking hungry. Okay.
yeah.
Because what I'm doing is not sustainable and it's really just off brand of anything that I do. Okay. Like I'm literally, in a nutshell, basically prepping for a bodybuilding show that I'm not going to for
Hmm.
photos. Okay.
Sure. Right.
And it's part of something that I'm doing with some coaches on my team. We're doing it together and we're doing this for us. And we're doing this to show women that you can do anything at any age. If you're not losing fat, it's not because you're menopausal or perimenopausal, because we are all in our 40s, 50s, and 60s doing this and we're all
Uh huh.
losing fat. Okay. We're trying to prove to you that you can do anything you set your mind out to do, really. Right. But this is not sustainable for the average person. I would never have someone do what I'm doing unless it was something that they were goal oriented and they're like, and they've been strength training for years. They built that muscle, right?
They have that metabolic muscle, the bank
They
built up.
have the
Yeah,
foundation. They have a healthy relationship with food. They like everything, all their ducks are in a
dude. If you
row.
didn't have a healthy relationship with
I,
food,
no
you're
way.
struggling with food noise right now, right? So like,
Oh, yeah.
game over if you came
I
into
mean,
this.
right. It's not like I just came off the streets and I was like, I want to fucking prep for a bikini photo shoot, you know? No. It's like, no, I've been strength training for a decade. We've been prepping for this for over a year, like counting macros. I've never counted macros before. Getting specific certain step amount of steps, workouts, making sure that my food has to be as nutrient dense as possible. There is no room for a fucking Pop Tart. There is no room for a slice of pizza. This is not if it fits in your fucking macros. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
This is like I need because my body is already depleted. I need as much nutrients and micronutrients, micros that are very important, like
Yes.
antioxidants and all that fun, like, healthy
Yep.
fats.
Yeah.
Um,
Because your hormone health can take a hit
yeah.
if you're doing what you're doing and you're not
Hmm.
focusing on maintaining a good micronutrients.
Yeah. And even Coach Kelly was like, Beth, your fats are a little short. You need to up your fats.
Yeah.
You cannot be at 43 grams. You have to go up to 50 at least, 50, 53.
Yeah.
And that's fucking hard because fats are more calorically dense.
Yeah. 9 calories per
And so
gram.
then I'm like, all right, Kelly, what the fuck am I going to add? Because I don't have much to switch out.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I have to add 5 grams of oil to my dinner. I'm like, well, that is what, like, I don't know, almost 60 calories.
Hmm.
She's like, well, you're just going to have to tone it down on the American Dream nut butter. And that's literally the only thing.
And
That is
that's
my,
like an enjoyment thing too, right? Is
yeah.
having some nut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't have any, like, my food is great, but there's no room for Cheez Its
Hmm.
and fucking chips. I,
And that's why we
nothing.
don't that's why we say, like, this isn't for general population for most
Right.
people, like, this is definitely in contrast to the advice that we give and that you
Yeah.
give people, but you have a very specific goal and a very specific reason
Yeah.
for doing this.
Like snack bags don't fit. Okay. Because I'm counting carbohydrates as well. My carbs are low. They're about 100 grams.
Mhm, sure.
So,
That's definitely low.
I got to fit the blueberries and the strawberries as part of my carbohydrates.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
and potatoes and, rice on my high carb days because I do have one high carb day a week.
Good. Yep.
Where it's basically like I'm refueling for, glycogen storage and all that stuff, which is necessary. Like, or
Yes.
I'd be super fucking depleted.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
it's really regimented.
Yeah.
And I 100% guarantee if told someone, you know what, hey, let's see if you can do this. That means you need to eat the same 3 meals a day for fucking 90 days straight. Okay. How can you do that? Probably not. I'm eating the same fucking meals, give or take a little couple of swaps of the protein or some veggies. But other than that, same thing.
Yep.
No going out to eat
All those things that we enjoy about our life, you can't do those things right now with food.
in summer in Maine.
In summer in Maine, right. The best time of the year to be in Maine. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard.
It is. It is. And I think that's a really good segue to what we kind of wanted to talk about here today.
Hmm.
We wanted to kind of talk more, do a deeper dive into like metabolism and menopause, perimenopause, and what people can kind of do to get things in order when you're entering this phase of life and before you're
Hmm.
entering this phase of life, which is
Yeah.
kind of prompted. I haven't read you the comment yet, Beth, but we got a comment on our episode that we did with Dr. Alan Bacon, which was 185, episode 185, What the Menopause. The comment says it was from KJ Ball. It said, I found this episode reassuring for when I enter this phase of life. On the other hand, I think some information was only grazed over, which may have left some women feeling frustrated. For example, it was implied but never stated that women's maintenance calories could be extremely low due to constant diet restrictions. I wish you had touched more on how to fix this because women that do track struggle with adding calories without fear of gaining weight, even when lifting. So I think that's a really good talking point for us here today.
I also want to reiterate, and I love that she asked this, but
Hmm.
it's hard to add all these things that she's
In a
wanting to
1 hour long
know
episode.
in a 1 hour long episode that actually I think we went over
With
one
Dr.
hour
Ellen Bacon,
without
that one
Dr.
was
Alan
definitely like an
Bacon.
hour and a half,
And
I
this is
think.
actually an episode within itself, and that's why we're doing this. So
Right.
thank you for asking, but also it's not like we were trying to leave that out. I hope
Yeah.
you know that. Do you
And
know what I'm saying?
for sure. Yes, thank you for clarifying that, Beth, and I think, we've definitely touched on these things before. I I
Yeah.
I don't know if we've done a dedicated episode to it, so now's a good time to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're kicking off our 200s with a bang with, Dr. Nadolsky last week, and then here we go talking
Yeah.
about menopause and
And
metabolism.
we have a couple other guests coming. We have Dr.
Yeah.
Laura Semple, who is up and coming. She's got a PhD in women's health. Okay, like
Mhm.
women's. I gotta actually look the exact thing because
I love her
um,
content because she's really doing a good job of fighting, the
she
misinformation out
is
there.
a warrior. I have to say, she's evidence-based fitness for women researcher, expert in female physiology, exercise, and nutrition.
Hell
So that's
yes.
huge.
That's what we
Okay,
need.
she talks a lot about cortisol, weighted vests. She goes after a lot of the menopausal grifters, asking
Mhm.
them to cite the science that they're talking about because she knows that they're talking about rat studies. Okay. She is off to let people know the real deal because there's a lot of people out there that are not. And they're selling supplements and they're making you feel like you're broken.
Yep.
The weighted vest trend, it is a
Yep.
trend.
Yep, and I love weighted vests, and I think they're great, but I think they're over the claims that are associated with them are
Yeah.
bullshit, and that's what
It's not, yeah,
right, that's the big thing. It's not this magical fat loss thing, it's not gonna build your muscles up, I mean, build your bones up,
no,
so, I'm looking forward definitely to diving into
yeah.
that with her.
I feel like we're heading back into the '80s with the fucking ankle weights.
Oh, yeah, we're
This is what the weighted vest reminds me of.
okay, sure,
Wristbands, ankle weights,
mhm,
stupid shit like that, because it's not necessary for the majority of the general population.
yeah,
If you're overweight, you're already wearing a weighted vest. If you're athletic and you want to become more athletic because you're training for a Spartan, a fucking hike, yes, weighted vest would be great. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? But it's like
absolutely,
those
I agree with you.
specific things that they're used for.
Specific use cases, yes.
It's not me like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go my daily." You'll never catch me on a daily walk with a fucking weighted vest. I'll be in the gym. I'll be lifting a fucking trap bar or doing a, leg press. I will not be wearing
Right.
a weighted vest
Yeah,
for
it's
bone
the claims that are
density.
associated. It's overhyped and they're bullshit. So,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. So that's gonna be a good talk.
yeah.
That's gonna be a great talk. And then we have another guest coming up who's gonna be really in alignment with what you're going through right now. So it's gonna be a good way to
Natalia,
Natalia, yeah, to get her perspective on essentially extreme dieting, right?
Yeah.
And rebound dieting because she was former Miss Olympia like a
Mhm.
decade or two ago. So that's going to be a really good perspective to have as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're a woman in your 40s or 50s, which is most of our listeners, like 35 to 60, confused about, nutrition, weight loss, menopause, stay tuned. We've got some good shit coming for you.
Yeah, we do.
Starting, I mean, really, when we always kind of talk about all that stuff, but but stay tuned, especially these next coming up
I know.
few weeks,
But it's
starting
cool to
with this
have
one.
people that study this stuff and
Yes.
that can come and back us up in what we talk about.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
really like, I love to hear from this is who we learn from, the people with the PhDs, the people that study the science, the people that writing the
That are
studies,
conducting the
okay?
studies. Yes. Yep.
Exactly.
The literal experts.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Cool. All right. So, first and foremost, right, with menopause, perimenopause, the most common thing is, oh, my metabolism is broken, right? That's one of the most common claims that we hear. My metabolism's broken. I'm in menopause, and all of a sudden, my metabolism took a shit. It's broken. It's not working anymore. First and foremost, it's like, well, if your metabolism was broken, you'd be dead. Your metabolism's always fucking firing, and it
Yeah.
takes up a big percentage of your daily calories too. And I love to cite the study, so I'm going to go ahead and cite it right off the bat here. Ponzer et al. We talked about this study multiple times here on the podcast. Ponzer et al. 2021 daily energy expenditure through the human life course. It looked at hundreds of thousands of men and women, okay,
Mhm.
from the age of 8 days all the way up to 95 years old. And what they found is that after the age of 1 year old, metabolism starts declining slowly by adults until we're about 20 years old. But then from the age
Mhm.
of 20 to 60, our metabolism is really, really consistent. Like it doesn't just start declining. So
Right.
if you're a woman listening to this and you're reaching that age, your metabolism isn't broken. There's outliers for sure. There's gonna be people
Mhm.
that are under, and there's gonna be people that are higher. But for the
Yep.
most part, it's pretty consistent. And we're talking about general population here. So if you're listening, you're like, "Oh, my metabolism's broken. I know for a fact." Just listen to what we're about to say.
Mhm.
With metabolism, that's a tricky one, right?
Mhm.
Especially with menopausal women. They've been
Yeah.
fucking targeted for decades now
Oh,
with diet culture bullshit, fad
yep.
diets, chronic crash diets, overemphasis on cardio, not enough emphasis on building a strong body.
Mhm.
And it's the dieting that is what's fucking people up, right?
Yeah.
It's the dieting that's fucking menopausal women up and women that are in perimenopause.
That and your
Like, let's
your
just
overall activity and the fact that you're under muscled.
Yes, overall activity levels decline as we age,
Mhm.
and you're under muscled, or maybe you're not even strength training at all. So yeah, you're going to lose
Right.
muscle, you're going to lose bone density.
Yep.
It's not just a death sentence because you hit menopause. This starts actually happening at about the age of 30. You start with this
Yes.
sarcopenia. Your body starts to break down lean muscle mass at a certain rate every year. I don't remember the exact figure, so I don't want to get misquoted
I
here.
think it's 3 to 8%.
Let's see, sarcopenia.
I feel like it's 3 to 8%, but don't quote me on that. I think you're better off probably looking it up currently.
Yeah. But that happens, and, that's not happening as a result of metabolism. That's just a menopause. That's everybody, man
That's
or
everyone.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what women forget is that when they are in their elder years, life for you is a lot different than it was. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, you're not chasing after a toddler. You're not, because they are busy little kids. You're not a young mom with busy, busy kids, and you're a
Sure.
busy, busy driving people everywhere, and you're going this and going that, and you're more stressed. You're probably drinking more. You're more sedentary, and you're yo-yo dieting throughout
The
this
year
whole thing.
the years and that is the big one of the biggest culprits. It's the yo-yo dieting and the crash
Yes.
dieting. Like, let's
Yeah.
say, like, Beth,
Mm,
the approach that you're having right now for your bodybuilding prep, that's what a
yeah.
lot of women do
They'll go straight to these
constantly.
these numbers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for decades to try
Mhm.
to lose weight, to try to lose fat, because they're doing programs like Weight Watchers or the Slimming Worlds or Optavia or whatever
Yes.
fucking bullshit diet is out there that's putting you on 1,000 calories. Not saying you're doing 1,000 calories because you're not,
Right.
but
No.
that is putting you on 1,000 calories or putting you on 1,200 calories, right?
Yeah.
That's what's fucking you up doing that long term,
Yeah.
because that under eating reduces your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, right?
Mhm.
And your BMR, that's the amount of calories that your body needs to just keep you alive,
Mhm.
maintain human life. If you lay in bed all day, you're gonna still burn calories. That's your BMR.
Which is also affected by genetics as well.
Sure.
This
Yeah.
was something I've learned because even though I do all the things, my basal metabolic rate is not that high. I've had it tested. I think we've even talked about this on the
Yes,
podcast. So,
we
in
did.
order for me to have a higher maintenance, I need to be extra active. I need to make sure I'm getting my protein and strength training.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. So, and under eating will force metabolic changes in your body, right? You
Mhm.
know that's a natural thing. When you lose body mass, when you lose fat, when you lose weight, there's less of you to maintain. Very high
Yeah.
level. That's how it works. There's less of you to maintain, so you're not expending as much energy. So that
Mhm.
reduces your BMR.
Yeah.
Um, and when you're stressed, when you're restricting in the way that so many women have for years and years, that causes more
Mhm.
stress on your body, and your body is like it's either adapt or shut down essentially. And
Right.
there's physiological processes in place when you are going low calorie. It's your body's going to start sending signals: move less. You need to conserve, move less. You're gonna be doing these things without even realizing it. Your hormones, right, are gonna be sending these fucking signals to move less. We need to conserve energy.
Mhm.
That's where the whole starvation mode thing has some merit of truth to it, but then of course it's largely bullshit with the way people portray it essentially.
Right.
So your body, your hormones are telling you to move less, and you are moving less as a result
Mhm.
of just life, like Beth said, like you said, Beth, as a
Yeah.
result of you're further on in your career. Maybe now you're in an office job in your career now.
Mhm.
Maybe you're an executive now or something, so you're sitting down a lot more, right?
Right.
People discount the amount of they put too much emphasis on exercise and not as much emphasis on the
You,
non-daily, the non-intentional exercise, right?
yes, you
The
guys.
daily movement.
You are sedentary, which makes up 60%.
Yeah,
It's a
after your
fucking good
BMR,
it's a good
the
chunk.
most amount of calories that you burn comes from your TDEE, your total day
Mhm.
or your NEATs. I'm sorry, your non-exercise activity
Yeah.
thermogenesis.
Your 1-hour gym session
That accounts for about
is
5% of your caloric burn.
that's for you to build muscle,
Mhm,
okay?
mhm.
Whatever you do outside of that is just as important,
It's even more important, right?
if not more.
In terms of in terms of
Exercise or overall daily activity.
yeah, right. Mhm, absolutely. And that's not to say, right, menopause doesn't change things. It does. Like, it can change, your hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, your cortisol, right? But those none of those things make you broken, and they don't make you burn less calories and use less energy.
No,
They don't. They just change how you're behaving, how you're reacting to things,
how you may feel.
how you make feel. Exactly, exactly.
And that's where you need to go get help, and people are always like, well, I can't just diet and exercise my way through menopause. And no one's asking you to. But also, we're health and wellness coaches, nutrition, strength coaches. I'm not a doctor. Matt's not a doctor. We are out of our scope if we start talking about HRT because
Mhm.
not everyone can take HRT.
Right.
Okay. And I think people forget that. There's many people that can't
That's
take
because
our
people like
HRT.
us that are just that are health and fitness coaches that that aren't doctors. That's because they do go outside of their scope of
They
practice if
do.
they talk
They
about these
do.
fucking things.
And then you come to me or Matt and you're like, but what about HRT? What about it? Go talk to your
Mhm.
doctor about it. And that's what I will tell you because that's what everyone should fucking tell you that's not a doctor and
Right.
specializes in HRT.
Yep. And you don't need supplements. You don't need supplements to get you through menopause.
No,
There are no magical menopausal supplements that are
I was actually going
going
to
to
make a
fix
video
your
about
menopausalness. What's
my
that?
supplements. I was actually going to make a video today about my supplements during menopause, which basically is going to be like whatever I've been taking since, I don't know, forever.
Right. Nothing new. Nothing new.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So yeah, that's kind of the high level, right? But one of the best things you can do also to improve your metabolism, getting into perimenopause and going through menopause, is to eat more food. And I understand like that can be scary to people
Hmm.
because when you eat more food, you're going to burn more energy, and especially if you eat more protein, right?
Hmm.
So that's why we put an emphasis on a high protein diet, because when you eat more protein, you're expending more energy. And that's because of the
Yes.
thermic effect of food. That's a big part of our metabolism too. The food
Hmm.
we eat burns more calories than the exercise we do every day. And that's fucking
Hmm.
crazy. People don't realize that.
Hmm.
That's like
Yeah.
10 to 15% of our daily caloric burn is from the food that we eat. So
Yeah,
if you're
the thermic effect of exercise is last.
It is. Yep. In terms of Like there's 4 components to our total daily energy expenditure. The big one, right? BMR, our metabolism, our baseline metabolism. Then the second one is our NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, the movement we're doing every single day outside of intentional exercise. Go
Mhm.
walking into work, fidgeting, talking on the phone, whatever it might be. That
Yeah.
shit adds up. Then the food we eat is third, and then the last one, lowest on the totem pole, is exercise. So exercising to burn calories is a really shit strategy, and
It
that's
is.
where so many menopausal women have been lied to, I think, because
Mhm.
I know the clients that I work with, they come to me coming from circuit classes and group classes, high intensity classes. Everything's fucking cardio. Women have been
Over
targeted with
exercising and under eating
over exercising with high intensity exercise, and they're under fueling their body. Of course, you're gonna feel like shit.
and binge.
And binge, right. Of course, your
Mhm.
cortisol is gonna be high because you're stressing yourself the fuck out. You're not nourishing your body. You know,
Right.
I just posted this on Instagram the other day, but my client Dawn, shout out to Dawn, you're crushing it. She's made more progress in 6 months working with us doing traditional strength training. She'd never done that before than she did in 2 years of group classes,
Wow.
of doing high intensity circuit classes.
That's awesome.
Right. Doesn't hasn't lost as much weight, but she's lost more fat. She's built more
Mhm.
muscle, and like that's what you want, you know.
Yeah.
So I think part of that equation with menopausal women, perimenopause, and just anybody is
Mhm.
ditch the obsession with the fucking scale.
Yeah.
We're
The
so
body you
tied up with the scale.
right, it's like, do you want your dream body or dream weight? Your dream body is gonna be built in the gym,
Your dream body is
correlated
going to weigh more than you think it should.
correlated with your nutrition, and it will weigh more. Yes.
Yes, absolutely, and that's not
Mhm.
a bad thing.
No.
We're gone. Like, if you want to continue to try to be small as possible, skinny as possible, go back to Weight Watchers. But you know that doesn't work for you.
Mhm.
You did all those things, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay to eat more and to not be shrinking. So it's okay to like eat to fuel your body, to fuel your body to feel good. Like you said earlier, I had to make sure that I'm eating more fat, right? That's a big part of it.
Mhm.
You're having to be very intentional with eating more fat. Women right now, they grew up in the 90s. They were alive in the 90s when low fat was the
Yeah.
fucking craze, right? So we have
Fat-free
to
everything.
you're right, low fat fucking everything. So we have to undo that bullshit that the diet has taught us.
Mhm.
That the diet industry has taught us. It's toxic and
Yep.
it's not going to serve you.
Right.
So we want to focus on protein. The thermic effect of protein is like 10 to 20%. So that means for every 100 calories that you eat of protein, your body's going to
Mhm.
burn 10 to 20 of those calories just to break it down and use it. And that's awesome. Versus carbohydrates, you know, and carbohydrates aren't bad, but carbohydrates, the thermic effect is like 5 to 10% or something along those lines. So you're
Mhm.
only going to be burning 5 to 10 calories for every 100 calories. And then fat, it's almost fat just runs through you. It gets,
Yeah.
you know, it's very, very low. So eat more protein and then fuel your body with carbohydrates to smash your workouts.
Mhm.
I've been challenging our clients recently to eat more carbs before their workouts. And you would be amazed by the results. Actually, we want to be amazed, Beth, by the results because now their workouts, they're getting stronger. They're building more
Yeah.
muscle. They're feeling better. They're not
Mhm.
feeling like shit before, during, and after their workouts anymore. You know,
Right.
they're eating before they go to the gym first thing in the morning. Then their energy levels are more sustained throughout the day. They're not playing catch up later in the day to nourish their body because they ate carbs earlier in the morning before their workouts.
Mhm.
You
But
mentioned
what
something
if
in
you but what if you're working out too early and you don't have time to eat that breakfast? Some people work out at 4 or 5 a.m. and they can't eat then.
smash a banana, like
Yeah.
grab some fruit.
You
Like
gotta have something.
yeah,
Something.
yeah. Like
Something. It doesn't have to be a big ass meal.
it doesn't.
You
It doesn't.
can have that after.
Mhm. Have some candy, right? Like, not maybe not the best choice at 4 o'clock in the morning, but energy is gonna be made readily available to you right away.
Mhm.
And you mentioned too with glycogen, right? Carbohydrates are our friend in that regard.
Yeah.
You said you were depleted, right? So you have that high carb day.
Mhm.
Carbohydrates get stored in our body as glycogen, and they get
Yeah.
fed into our muscles, making our muscles bigger, stronger, and fuller.
Mhm.
That's we want that. That's what we want.
Yes. Reminder, do not follow my plan.
Right.
I have to say this because no matter
I
how many
understand.
times I talk about it, I get messages, I want to do what you're doing. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Mhm.
Okay? So please don't be like, "Oh, maybe I should have a high carb day too and do all low carb." No. No, you don't. This is part
Mhm.
of the process. It's
Mhm.
really about calories currently, and then refueling with some extra calories that aren't protein and fats.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got to say that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because we know people will still
Oh, I know.
mishear
I
you
mean,
and hear
and
what
it
they want.
doesn't matter how many times I say it. Someone's going to be like, "I want your plan. What are your meals?" Or
Yeah,
it's like you're
right. It's like, "No, you don't.
so.
No, you
No, you
don't."
don't. No, you don't.
Um, and I think too, like, you can't it's gonna be really fucking difficult to build muscle and strength if your only goal is to be 5 to 10 pounds lighter, to be as small as possible.
Yeah.
You get that toned look by building muscle mass.
Hmm. Yes.
That's that's
Everything that you're going to be seeing from me right now, my shoulders, my everything is because I built it.
you didn't build it now in this calorie
This
deficit,
is
right?
not I'm not
No.
building this shit now, you guys. This has
If
already been
anything,
there.
I don't
I'm
know if you've done
revealing
any
it.
scans recently, but if anything, you could potentially be losing muscle mass right now. Yeah, you're doing
I have
everything you
that.
can to preserve it for sure.
I've been maintaining it.
Good.
According to my Hume scale that we were talking about that I got, because
Yeah,
that's another reason why I got it, because I want to make sure that my
yeah,
body fat's going down and my muscle is pretty much staying the same. And sometimes it'll go up and sometimes it'll go down, but it's pretty neutral,
yeah,
which is good.
yes. Yeah, because when you're in a calorie deficit, you don't have enough energy to maintain your body mass. And so your
Hmm.
body is like, "Hey, I need to get
Yes.
energy from somewhere. Where do I
Yeah.
get it from? Okay. Well, I can get it from my fat storages in my body, but
Hmm.
also look, this muscle seems like a convenient way to get energy. I could break that down for energy.
Yeah.
So that's a very real likelihood too, which is why strength training is so important and a high protein diet is so important. You need to send the signal to your body to preserve your muscle mass.
Yep.
And
100%.
you do that by lifting heavy fucking weights and challenging yourself in the gym. So let's talk about
Like,
that for a few minutes here.
and I want to add that
Mhm.
don't wait to strength train till you hit your goal weight. So
Oh
many
god.
people like you need to be
Why you're
preserving your muscle mass, guys. Okay. And
Mhm.
this is why I'm still strength training. I'm never stopping strength training. And I think that's another question I get. Do you do different workouts? Are you still strength training? Everything is the same. The
Right.
workout, but the amount of reps may be different because of the lower energy. I have to preserve energy. So they're not going to be the same, like, let's say 15 reps or 12 even. It's going to be
You're
like,
not gonna be out there powerlifting right now.
no,
Yeah.
no. It's
Yeah.
really right now to maintain my muscle and my strength.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I
Um, what was
forgot
that?
why I forgot why I added that in, but
No, that was good. That was good. Because we're talking about strength training, and that's fair.
yes.
That's fair. But before we really start talking about strength training here, some other ways like using the scale is great. Okay, absolutely, it's a good measure of progress, but it's not the only form of progress that we should be tracking. So we should be taking body measurements. You're taking body
Hmm.
measurements and you're using the Hume. People don't have to use the Hume. Like you can take body
Right.
measurements, take them with a tape measure. Buy it for
Yeah.
$5, $10 off of Amazon.
I'd say one time a month, every
Yeah,
30
one time a
days.
month. Yeah, yeah, at a minimum. I like to do personally with my clients like every 2 weeks, but that's neither here nor there. You know,
Right.
um,
I have to do them every 2 weeks. But also, yeah, like you said, it's not here nor there, honestly.
and don't just weigh yourself once a week, please, guys. Like
No.
we want more data points and nothing.
Mhm.
I don't understand why we only weigh ourselves once a week. And I get it because we have an unhealthy relationship with the scale. I do understand it, but the only way to get through that is to work through it and to confront the scale and start changing your mindset of it being data instead of using it to judge yourself.
Right. Yes, Matt. Right.
So many women, and this is because, like, I talked about this with clients on a call last week, right? Who, like, listeners probably gonna don't raise your hand if you're driving or anything, but raise your hand. Like, remember going to Weight Watchers and standing in front of the scale in front of everybody. Oh, so and
Mhm.
so went up this week, right? Like, fuck that, right? That's where that toxic relationship with the scale comes from,
Yeah.
with that dieting bullshit.
Mhm.
We're not using the scale to judge ourselves. We're using it to
Right.
build awareness
Yes.
and to collect it as data.
And right. And then the photos. I
Hmm.
think photos are number 1, uh, even before measurements, because measurements can stay the same. And
Sure.
I'm going through that right now, and a couple of the coaches that are doing this with me, like, bodies are changing, even the scale may be changing, but measurements may be staying the same, or they may be
Hmm.
going up, maybe going down. But photos have been the paramount
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do not take them.
Yes. And there's one I
Okay.
agree with that. And there's one thing I know, having worked with so many clients, it's like the clients that haven't taken progress pictures, they ended up regretting it later. Like, man, I
Yeah.
wish I had that starting picture.
Mhm.
And it's again, it's not to judge ourselves.
No.
It's to like, let's see how far we've come. Like, let's see what's changed. We want as many different ways of measuring progress as possible
Right.
because we know that there's just looking at any one type of way of measuring progress is not going to help you.
No, and especially if you are, let's say you're struggling with the fact that you may not see progress the way we see progress. We have all this data, we can show you that you
Yeah.
are in fact making progress. But when you have just one piece of data, let's say the scale, and nothing else, you're going to base all your emotions and everything off what the scale says, but then you don't have all the other data to collect from and to look
Right.
in an unemotional way.
You're going to be making decisions based off of your emotions
And
instead
then
of
you're be like,
logic.
I should lower my calories. It's like, no, you shouldn't. That's probably
Hmm.
the last thing you should fucking do.
Yeah. For most people, they don't need to lower their
You
calories.
know, you don't need to lower your calories consistently as you're losing weight. Okay. Usually that number will take you to your fucking goal. And
I
so many
very rarely
people,
adjust calories for my clients
same.
once we're in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
So,
We made an adjustment with a client last week. Started more accurately measuring their food, right? Weighing their food, weighing all of their
hmm
food instead of just some of it. Lo and behold, we're losing weight again. So it's
yeah,
like didn't cut the calories. No, we just needed to be more consistent with how we were measuring.
that's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, I just don't think I want to weigh this stuff today. Okay. Well, you don't have to, but
Yeah. Right.
your actions need to match your goals. And, data doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure.
you know,
Data does not lie. Exactly.
it does not.
Exactly.
What gets
Um,
measured gets managed.
yes. What gets measured gets managed. I love that quote. So your strength improving is a good sign of making progress and getting that metabolism built back up. Your energy
Mhm.
improving, how your sleep quality, your mood, and like your biofeedback, right? Your response to stress and things like that. And that's another thing too is like dieting is stressful. Losing weight
Yeah.
can be stressful, especially when you're doing it long term. So you really need to manage your stressors in your life, as especially as a perimenopausal woman.
Mhm.
You would really need to manage your constant stress in your life, right? And that's not to say like there's because cortisol is not a bad thing. As we talked about last week with Dr. Nadolsky,
Mhm.
cortisol is a good thing, but it's the chronically high cortisol that can be fucking you up, and that's what's dictating your decisions with food. It's
Right.
dictating your response to everything. So it's not the cortisol that's making you fat; it's the fact that you're running around chronically stressed and fatigued,
Mhm.
not getting good night's sleep.
Right. And something else I want to touch on, because when you mentioned stress, reminded me of. I think what's hard for people to understand is that a lot of you guys might not even be ready for fat loss currently because
Yeah,
you have other things that you need to focus on taking care of before you try to be in a deficit because some of the things that you are dealing with currently are what's fucking your ass up.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like how are you going to logically be in a deficit, which is stressful when you already have outside stress going on and you overeat because of that stress. Okay, let's handle
Yes.
the stress. Let's handle that stress first. Because that's your key right there to actually helping you be in a deficit and be consistent. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. They just think about, I want to go into a deficit. Okay, well, what's you got emotional eating going on? You're so fucking stressed. You got so much shit. You sleep like shit besides menopause. Those things, I think we talked about this with Renee.
Right, sleeping
Those need
like
to be
shit.
handled.
Yeah, if you don't get a good night's sleep, your hunger hormone, the ghrelin goblin, right? I call it the ghrelin
Yeah.
goblin, is gonna be elevated. Ghrelin
Yeah.
is responsible for sending this hunger signals to your brain.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be elevated, especially if your cortisol is elevated. Then your ghrelin's gonna be elevated, and that happens if you're
Right.
not getting a good night's sleep. It's a
Yeah.
fucking vicious cycle.
It is. It is.
So
It's
we
like,
have to manage our lifestyle factors.
yeah. It's like, what is drinking holding you back? Maybe need to get a handle on the drinking. Like for me, I quit drinking and I'd say I focused more on exercise and actual nutrition or anything for like a year. I was
Mhm.
just really, I wanted to make sure I was just sober and I was just exercising was part of my mental health with sobriety.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as, I felt better and more confident, I started focusing on my nutrition. And I think people need to be okay with taking it in steps and it doesn't have to be a fucking year, but handle your shit.
Yeah.
And so
Get
you
your
can do it in
get
a,
your ABCs in check. Just
yeah.
mhm. Yes, for sure. I agree. I agree. So I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about strength training too, and the importance of really pushing yourself in the gym. So often I just see people as going through the motions, right? They get
Mhm.
3 sets of 8 to 10. Okay, I'm just gonna go do, fly through it, these bicep curls or whatever as quickly as
Mhm.
possible with no intention behind it, and I'm not actually gonna challenge myself, right? And that's
You
one
wanna
thing
get in
we
and you wanna get out.
yeah, right. Get in, get out. But if you're not pushing yourself and close to failure with your strength training, you're not forcing an adaptation for your muscles. So you're not going to be
Right.
building muscle and getting stronger. You need to be working like rate of perceived effort, the RPE scale. Like how hard is this thing for me, right? About a 7 to 9 out of 10 is where you really want to be pushing yourself. After you're set, check in with yourself. How many more reps could I have done? Right?
Mhm.
If it's 5 or more, you didn't push yourself hard enough.
Right.
And be honest with yourself. If it's 1 or 2, okay, that's probably the sweet spot. If you felt like there's no way you could have done one more, that's probably where you want to be. That's where you want to be
Mhm.
to get stronger and to build muscle. And that's going to build
Yeah.
confidence too. And you're going to start feeling better about yourself when you start pushing yourself in the gym and doing these hard
Mhm.
fucking things.
Yeah. And
And
then I think what's super important is following a program,
yes,
right? That focuses on progressive overload. So what is
uh-huh.
progressive overload? I get that
Progr
question a lot, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So progressive overload is just forcing an adaptation over time by continually progressively doing more, very high level. So that means adding more weight, adding more reps, more sets, more intensity, more time under tension. So slowing down and being intentional with the movements that you're under or
Better
that you're doing.
form.
But the most common way is to add more weight, right? So and to push yourself closer to failure are the two most common things that you can do there. And follow a structured plan for sure.
Right.
Instead of just going to the gym without a plan, having fuck around items. So today I think I'm going to do some of this. I'm going to see what machines are available, and then I'm going to go do this.
You're not gonna build muscle that way.
Right. Yeah. You might at the
It
very beginning, because anybody you can build muscle at the very, very beginning as a
right.
brand new newbie, just barely lifting weights. But at some point, it's not going to work for you, and that
Mhm.
point is going to come pretty quickly,
Like, I couldn't go to the gym right now and do random workouts like, the rest of my life.
for sure. So, like speaking of plan, like let's give a shout out here.
And I was
We
gonna
have somebody,
say,
Amy,
Amy?
right?
Mhm.
Amy McCarlin. What a
Amy.
badass! She shared in our Facebook group the other day. She just hiked North Dome in Yosemite, and she's been doing our Patreon workouts for 3 years now.
I know.
Since pretty much since they came out. She's strong. She's lean. She's a lean, mean fighting machine, right? She's
Mhm.
doing home workouts too. So a lot of our home workouts are resistance bands with some dumbbell work in there. You don't need a tons of fancy equipment, but it's a progressively overloaded plan that she's been following for 3 fucking years now.
Yeah.
She's gotten really strong, and she's a menopausal woman, right?
Mhm.
Crushing
Yeah.
it. So yeah, and hey, by the way, we just released new Patreon workouts. It's the beginning of the month.
Yes. New challenge. I actually did for July, I did 1 challenge a week for you guys to,
Yeah,
accomplish.
that's exciting. A little bit different.
Mhm. Yeah, because I think summer is hard for it's, busy. I mean, we're all pivoting like a motherfucker, so I think it's maybe more difficult, harder to try to do something for 30 days rather than maybe let's eat vegetables at every meal for 1 week, right? And then the next week, let's make sure we do this. So it's
Yep.
kinda like set up like that.
Yeah, I love it. When you told me that idea, I was like, "Oh, yeah, they're gonna love that."
Yeah.
We have the Patreon workouts available, guys. It's there if you become a member of our Patreon for $5 a month, you get access to monthly workouts that you can do at home or at the gym, and the monthly challenges that Beth's creating for you guys. And
Mhm.
so many of our members that have been doing them for a while now are getting great results. You can just check our Facebook group or just, listen to Amy or whatever. But it's progressively overloaded. It's the boring basic shit, okay?
Yeah.
We're asking you to just stick to the basic fundamentals. We're not changing up a lot of things from month to month, but we're asking you to push
Mhm.
yourself hard every month with your workout.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, join our Patreon, guys.
Yeah,
5 bucks
right?
a month, and then 10 bucks a month for recipes and my, I think you just said that, and my, challenges.
N Yeah, yeah, exactly. Recipes, challenges, and the workouts for $10 a month there. So
Mhm.
why not? Why not?
And then always shout out to Cured Nutrition.
Yes, for sure.
We love
Um,
them.
Love them. We're excited to continue working with them. Like I said earlier, I haven't had any caffeine today, but I did
Mhm.
take my Flow gummy before this
Flow
podcast to help
gummies.
me get
Yeah.
focused. So,
I've been into the Serenity gummies currently.
yeah,
Yeah, it's because I got my Ghost. my brain, my fucking
Menopausal
like
fog right there.
that and low
Diet
carb
fog.
or diet fog. I have
That's
diet
diet fog.
fatigue, fucking menopause right now. I can't think anything. Like fucking someone take me for a walk.
So how are you how are
Oh,
you using the Serenity Gummies, Beth, and finding them to be helpful?
for relaxing at night and helping me sleep.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I know a lot of clients have echoed that too, that they take them as a kind of a way to end the night. And I mean,
It
it's a really healthy alternative to having
I
that
don't
drink or
drink.
something at the end of the
Yeah,
night,
that's the
right?
thing. I was going to say I don't drink, and it really, things are stressful right now. It's summer. I'm in this cut. There's a lot going on with Beth Rocco Fitness. And my son's home, and so it just helps me at the end of the day shut everything off. But it's
Yep.
not one of those things where you don't feel like you. It doesn't do anything to you.
Right, because
It just it just
it's
kind of
just a
relaxes you.
yeah,
Yeah.
relaxation station for sure. And
Hmm.
the same way with like the Flow gummies. Do I notice like this huge difference? I don't feel any different, but I notice like that I'm more
Focus.
focused. And
Yes.
I notice that that has a carryover to my performance, especially with my running workouts and things like
Hmm.
that. To me, prepare for this podcast today by helping me get dialed in. About 12 o'clock, I started getting focused and making notes and stuff, and it really helps me get dialed in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out. Like, you can use our coupon code if you do wanna check them
Hmm.
out. Our
Code
clients love them.
CTC. Yeah, they
Yeah, code
do.
CTC, curenutrition.com/CTC. You
Hmm.
get 20% off, and
Yeah.
we just love their products.
Absolutely.
This was
All
a great
right.
episode about,
Yeah.
like, what you can do to get ready for menopause as you're going through menopause. We want you to understand that you're not fucking broken. There's a lot of
Hmm.
bullshit out there
Right.
from influencers and grifters. But you
Yes.
do have the power. And if you think that you do have a problem, an issue with your hormones, please go to your doctor. Don't listen to people online. Okay,
Hormone
go to your
Hannah.
doctor. Go to your doctor and
Right.
get your labs done.
Yes, exactly. All
All
right.
right, cool, great conversation today, Nerdle.
Yeah.
Everybody else, you have a good one. We'll chat soon.
We'll see you soon, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed this episode, so why not share with a friend who needs to hear it? Send us a DM on Instagram or email us at cutthecrappod@gmail.com and join our Patreon at patreon.com/cutthecrappodcast. As always, we appreciate you and thanks for being here.